Okay, so I'm going to share my screen because we're going to open up both of the explanatory essay assignments that I gave you. So the one that has your actual first draft in it, you'll open that one up, as well as the part where you did your pre-writing. So we're going to have both assignments open. Okay, so go ahead and open up where you actually wrote the essay. I obviously did not write an essay, so I won't have anything here, but you guys should have something here written, should have saved. And then we are also going to open up the part where we did all of the pre-writing stuff. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute to open both of those. I know sometimes it takes a minute to load, but let's have both open. All right, there we go. So you should have the performance task, explanatory essay, part open, and where you actually wrote the essay. Okay. Alex, pick your head up, please. Thank you. So I'll give you a minute to get those open, and we will get going on this. Open up both, because we're going to go back and forth between your essay and what you wrote and some editing and revising, so you guys can add in things or change things to your essay as we go through the rest of this part. Okay, so go ahead and have both of those open. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this. So my hope is that yesterday you guys were able to write your 5-paragraph essay here. Didn't need to be perfect, it just needed to be written at that point, so that today we can do the stuff that is on this page to help us kind of edit and revise and make it better. I truly believe even famous writers, people that wrote the most famous books in the world, could have improved their writing in some way. So that means that you guys should also be able to improve your writing as we go along. Nobody can write perfectly, even famous authors. They have to edit and revise their work too. So that's why we edit and revise our work as well. So we did a bit of this already. We did the part where we wrote our thesis, the 3 things that you felt that humans and animals had in common. We already wrote that part. Talked about sources, all of that stuff, and then we did the drafting. Now, what I noticed with the people in class is that this part did not save. What about online? Did this part save for you guys when you did it? There's quite a few people in class that this did not save. What about online?
No.
No, it didn't save? Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Some of you guys does and some of you guys doesn't. If it did not save, you do not need, huh? Yeah, I don't know why it does that. The program just like doesn't save it. I can't stop it. So if it did not save, you do not need to redo it. Your essay should be written at this point, so you won't need to redo the. Huh? I don't think so. It does it on like every story, so I don't know why it does it. Like if you want to, yeah. So we did that part. The what is this called? The chart. We did the chart. If it deleted, it's okay. You don't need to go back and redo it, because at this point you should have written your first draft on this page, and I should be able to see that you have an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. So 5 paragraphs total. If you have not finished this, this is something that you are going to need to go back and complete. But if you're not done at this point, we do need to still talk about how to edit and revise, and you're probably going to have to do this on your own. If you need to go back and watch this recording later to edit and revise it with me again, then maybe you need to do that, but you should be editing and revising your work. So let's talk about a couple of conventions, things that we learned while we were reading. I think this one was during the chimpanzee one. I don't know for sure, but making sure that you have the correct pronouns. We talked about how you shouldn't be using too much of the I, we, you in these ones. It should be more formal, but you probably still did use pronouns, which is a word that takes the place of a noun or a different pronoun. There are three cases of pronouns. You have nominative or subjective cases, which is used for the subjects of the sentence. The objective case, which is used for the indirect and direct objects. And the possessive case that is used to show ownership. So we've talked a little bit about pronouns. This kind of touches back on them. But as you reread your story, these pronouns should fit in the sentences. Yoshi, wake up. Thank you, Mr. Turner. So these pronouns should fit in your sentence. If you write about Jane Goodall and you say that she is a he, you got to make sure you change that to the correct pronoun, right? So I want to give you guys maybe 3 or 4 minutes just to read through and make sure that your he's and she's and I's and we's fit in your essay as they should. If you need to fix some parts, please do so. But your first step right now is to check over your essay right here and check that the pronouns are correct. So first step, check the pronouns. I'm just going to write what we do on here so that we just kind of go in order. Okay? So I'll give you about 3 minutes. Read through it. Check that you have the correct pronouns in place.
Wake up and get it. Start growing older, being a little bit more responsible. Even if you can stay up all night, sometimes you shouldn't. Make sure you get enough sleep so you're not sleeping too fast the next day.
I'll do about 1 more minute to check those pronouns.
Good job. Good job. You can go back and kind of proofread it.
Alrighty. So I do not have. At least you can scroll down. That's good. At least you might have to keep doing that.
Then can't stay awake. Stand up.
Yeah, for real.
I used to have a mean teacher. If you fell asleep in that classroom, you stood at the back of the class the rest of the day. to complete your class.
Alrighty. So we checked for our pronouns. We're going to kind of skip over the read it and write it part. There's not anything to actually do there, but we are going to go down to this revising section. So everybody needs to scroll down to this because you are going to be answering yes, somewhat, and no as part of going over your essay. So we're going to do each one and decide.
One is yes, two is somewhat, and two is no.
No, just write yes, somewhat, or no. Thank you. So we're just going to kind of go through this list and talk about what each one means, and I'm going to give you a minute or so to read through and say, yes, I have done that in my essay. No, I have not done that in my essay. And I somewhat did that in my essay. So you need to decide where you are with those things. Okay? So our first one is for the purpose and organization. So why you wrote the essay and how you organized it. Do you provide an introduction paragraph that includes a thesis statement? Remember, the thesis is where you say, I will be writing about this, this, and this. So did you do that and have an introduction paragraph? Yes, kind of, or no. Those are your three options. So take about 1 minute and do that one, okay? All right. So that was our first one. Did you provide an introduction with a thesis statement that says, I wrote or I will be writing this, this, and this? Okay, so you'll say yes, no, or somewhat. Our next one, number 2 here, says, did you establish a logical organization that is easy for readers to follow? So did you go in an order when you wrote your paragraphs that's going to make sense? Am I going to be able to read it and be like, okay, I followed that, easy to follow, or am I going to read it and be like, I don't know how they got from this part to this part? That didn't make any sense. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Does that seem like a logical way to organize it for you? Yeah. Then you say yes. So if you think that your essay flows and it's going to make sense to me as I read it, then you can say yes. If you're kind of like, maybe I can change where this paragraph is, or I can write a different sentence here, then you would say somewhat. And if you're reading it and you can't even read it without it making any sense, then you need to say no and try to readjust your essay a little bit there. Okay? I'll give you a minute to decide on that one. All right. Our next one here, the third box, says, did you provide a conclusion, so your last paragraph of your essay, that follows from the ideas presented earlier in the essay? So your conclusions should basically like wrap up your whole essay in a nice little bow and say, this is why I wrote it, this is what we learned, I am done, without using the words I am done. Do not ever write I am done at the end of your essay. That would be bad. Don't do that. Huh? No, I wouldn't give you an F. It's not very like formal. You should find a different way to. A little, maybe, potentially. Just don't write I am done at the end of your thing. But your conclusion paragraph should basically sum everything up, restate the ideas that you were talking about earlier in the essay. And if you did that, give yourself a yes. If you're like, okay, I could probably add a couple things to my conclusion and help summarize my own essay a little bit better, give yourself a somewhat. If you didn't write a conclusion, or you're like, okay, wait, I didn't do what Ms. Jones just said, write a no. Okay? Keep in mind that you guys are sixth graders. I am not a sixth grader, and I still have to go back if I have to write an essay and edit and revise and do a checklist like this as well. And most of the time, I do have somewhats. Nobody's perfect, so you should not have a yes, 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 because there's always something that you can improve on. There should be something that you're able to be like, no, or somewhat, I can do better on this. Okay, keep that in mind. When I was in school, like recently, like I graduated with my master's over the summer. So when I was doing and writing big major essays, like over the summer, I had to do a whole research project. So like I had to gather data, analyze the data, and write a 20-page research paper on it. When I was doing that, I wasn't just like, okay, I wrote it, I'm done, gonna turn it in just like that. I had other people read it. I read through it multiple times after I wrote it just to check for little things. Did I spell all these things correctly? Do I need to change a word here? Does this order of my essay even make sense? So you'll always be double checking your writing. So it's a good practice to get into, to be checking over and over what needs to be fixed. Okay. So our next one, fourth one, transitions. That's things like first, next, in comparison, in conclusion, in contrast, finally. All these different words or phrases that show that you're moving on to the next thing, or they have a relationship of some way. So did you use transitions? Yes, somewhat, or no? Okay. They're usually at the beginning of a sentence, yeah, and they show that you're going to move on to another idea. Thank you. We're editing our essay, okay?
Anyway, stand up. Go for a walk. Walk around the school.
Alrighty. Our next couple have to do with like text evidence and stuff that you added from the texts. So from My Life with the Chimpanzees and from Hachiko. So the first one says, did you develop your main ideas? So the three things that you chose as what humans and animals have in common. Did you develop those main ideas with strong facts and relevant details from the text? So did you pull quotes or did you paraphrase anything from the stories? Give yourself a yes if you did, and you did that pretty well. A somewhat if you kind of did it. And a no if you're like, oh no, I didn't take any quotes. And you need to go back and add some in. Yeah. Yep, that would be. Yep, that's exactly what you need to be doing because you're not taking your. Yes, that is good. You want to take ideas and thoughts from the stories. Yeah, go for it. You want to take thoughts and ideas from the stories and incorporate them into your own essay. So, like I said, I wrote that 20-page research article, right? I read, I want to say, at least 15 articles, like really thick articles, about the topic I was doing my research on and had to pull text evidence from those articles. I had to paraphrase and put those articles in my own words. So the stuff that we teach you nowadays you're going to use over and over and over, especially if you plan to go to college. So I typed it. Yeah. All right. The next one. Did you provide examples for each major point? So your major points should have been the 3 things that you think that animals and humans have in common. And did you provide examples of that? So did you just say, I think they're loyal, and then leave it at that? Because you need to provide some examples about why you think they're loyal. So it's a yes if you did provide examples. Somewhat if you're like, okay, maybe I can add some more examples or more information to my examples. Or a no if you just did not provide examples. So you got 3 options there.
So this one is example how they were loyal or everything.
Yeah. Okay. And then that third box under evidence and elaboration is, did you use precise language to express and support your ideas? So were you clear and use maybe some, what are they called? Vocabulary words to express your ideas? Did you support your thoughts with examples and stuff like that? So did you use solid, good language? Word choices is different. You didn't use the word very like 8 times in your essay. You said extremely, amazingly. Like you added in some different words and stuff like that. So give yourself a yes if you did that. A somewhat if you're like, okay, maybe I can add a few more awesome words to it. Or no if you use the word very like 80 times. When I was your guys' age, I was really, really bad at repeating the same word over and over and over again. So I used to always be like, this was like in my own writing. Like, it was a very cool thing. It was a very awesome blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah. So just rewrite some of those a little bit. Yeah. Huh? No, you don't want to repeat the same word over and over and over again. Well, you don't want to repeat it. So I was bad at using different sorts of words. And like, instead of using the word very over and over and over again, I had to learn how to use different words like extremely or amazingly. I don't know. Those are the only 2 I can think of right now. But I had to change the way that I wrote a little bit to make it sound more interesting. When you use the word very over and over and over again, or also, that's what I noticed with a lot of your guys' writing. You guys will use the word also over and over and over again. You want to change those up a little bit. And let's look at, we have 2 left here. We already kind of did this one under conventions, using the correct pronouns. We already went back and talked and kind of corrected those. So if you're like, yeah, I totally use the correct pronouns, you put a yes. If you kind of did and you had to change a couple things, put somewhat. If you had to change a lot, then you can put no. Making sure you use the correct pronoun with the correct person. Yeah. And then the pronouns would be like, Jane Goodall said that she wanted to go somewhere. Like using the correct pronoun for the person or the place or the thing. That's okay. Did you paraphrase it? So you pulled thoughts from the text, but you just paraphrased it, put it in your own words? Yeah. Yep, that's good. Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, and then the last one here, you establish and maintain a formal style. So that means that you aren't it's not like you're telling your best friend a story where you're just like going on and like saying like the word like over and over or you want to have a pretty formal style. It sounds like you're writing an essay, right? It needs to be pretty formal. So if you did pretty good at keeping it formal, you didn't use the word I too much.
I didn't
Good.
use I once.
Good. So then you could say, yes, I did maintain a formal style. You can say, I somewhat did. I might need to go work on that a little bit. Or you can say, nope, I need to fix that up because I acted like I was talking to my best friend about it. Okay, so yes, no, or somewhat.
I tried to prevent it from happening, but I did it over and over again on paper.
There you
I
go.
was able to-
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
I was able to make it so I didn't repeat it like on the paragraph like how I began it.
Good. That's good. Yes, now you can go to the bathroom. Yeah.
It took me a while to learn how to do it.
What gives you answers?
Someone yesterday, you didn't give us
So it gives you some things to correct? That's good. Good. I like that feedback button, yeah. So Elijah just pointed out that if you've written enough in here, I want you to write at least, I think, 100 words. Once you've written at least 100 words, you can click this get feedback button. It's not going to give me anything. But it'll pop up right here and it'll give you like a score of a 1 through 6. And if it's in the red, you're kind of like, okay, maybe, yeah, if it's in the red, I think it's 1, 2, or 3, I think is red. And it's like, you should probably fix up these couple of things. Yeah. So it gives you pretty specific feedback about what you can fix, right? Yeah. So this feedback button would be really good since maybe you don't have someone to read your essay or you don't want people to read your essay. This will automatically give you feedback if you've written enough in this section over here. So you can always use that and it'll help out with making your essay better too. So let's see what else we've got here. We talked about transitions and using those. Here's some more examples of using some transitions. We have talked about having a formal style, so you don't want to give your opinion. It's a lot of facts and examples, not your own opinion. And then this peer review, you can have someone do. So a peer would be like a classmate, your mom, your dad, anybody at home. Mr. Turner and I are here. If you want us to give you a peer review, online that might be a little bit difficult. So if you could find someone at home, you're more than welcome to have someone at home read your essay instead. But they can read through this and answer these questions, and this will help you fix up your paper too. But I'm not requiring you to do it. But if you want other people to read it, like you want a classmate to read it, or you want me, Mr. Turner, a parent or guardian, a brother, a sister, someone else to read your paper, you're more than welcome to have them do that and give you some suggestions to make it better. But you don't have to do this part. And what else do we got? We've already kind of done this. The next part, we're just going to do kind of on our own right here really quick. Editing for conventions. Conventions are things like making sure that you have spelled things correctly, use the correct capitalization, punctuation, and like grammar, making sure that things sound good. So, and that's for accuracy too. So these two things, I want to give you maybe 4 minutes to do, like read through and just check over your spelling, punctuation, make sure you got your periods in the correct spots, and it sounds good and it flows well. So I'll give you a few minutes to be working on that and just checking over the conventions. Yeah, Charlie.
For some of them, I'm putting so much time, I don't know. I don't exactly know. I just need to.
You just need to redo a little bit. That's fine.
pronoun again?
The conclusion for the last paragraph of your essay, make sure that it is there and it kind of summarizes the rest of it. In other words, they would reread it and do both things that we very much understand. I use the word vary all the time. So did you have some different word choices? Did you support your idea and examples? And you can say yes or somewhat or no, whatever you feel.
Pronoun cases means that the pronouns like I, he, me, she matches whatever you're talking about. So if you're talking about Jane Goodall, you're using the pronoun she because she is a girl. So just make sure they match. Okay.
I only have one now.
That's fine. Does it match? Does it make sense? Does the pronoun make sense?
Both main ideas like strong facts and relevant details on the text.
Did you use text evidence in your essay? Text evidence means that you took words like quotes or you paraphrased and rewrote some of the ideas from the readings in your own words.
I didn't take anything from them.
Okay, then you want to put no and make sure you do put some stuff from the stories in there. All right. So basically, that is what we're doing for editing and revising our essay. So after you do that rereading and you check it over for spelling and all that stuff, maybe just reread it one more time and complete it as a final draft. So you don't need to like rewrite it in any place. Where you wrote it on this page is good. Just make sure you have it all corrected for how you want it corrected. And if you are satisfied and you're like, okay, I have a final draft and it is done, then you can turn it in and be good with this essay. We are not working on the essay tomorrow. We're moving on. So if you are not done and you're not caught up, take the rest of the ELA today. We still have 25 minutes left of ELA. So if you're not done, be working on it still. Be caught up, and if you are done, you can get them turned in. Okay? You can turn in both assignments once you're done. You can turn in the chart and the pre-writing and revising stuff, and you can turn in the actual essay once you're done. Do you guys have any questions about kind of what needs to be done for the rest of this? What about online? Any questions from online? Alrighty, so cool. I will leave this up so that once you guys have written that first draft, these are the things that you need to make sure you do, these 4 steps. And then once you're done with these 4 steps, you can get both of these assignments turned in. So I'll leave this up for a while and give you guys the time to work. Huh? Probably. Okay, so I'm just going to stop the recording because we don't need to be recording you guys just working on it.